Can you pass the eyeballs, please? Thank you. No, I'm sorry. I meant the green ones. I never tried those. Excuse me. Hold on. I got a show to do. Hi. Welcome back. I thought we'd do something a little different today. As you can see, I'm in a busy restaurant. I was a bit bored of the same old tired foods and thought I'd try something different. Expand my palate a little. And that's what today's episode is about. Sort of. It's about gene flow. I know. What does a restaurant have to do with gene flow? Nothing at all, actually. But in over 130 episodes of Evolution Talk, I've never actually tackled it. I've touched upon it when I've talked about alleles and diversity, but I've never given it its own show. I can give you a brief description right now. Consider it an elevator pitch for a new science fiction movie. I'll let my friend here, Nandu, give it a shot. Take it away, Nandu.
Imagine a world where two populations meet, exchange genes, and go their own way. The results are unexpected, mesmerizing, and wonderful. The world will never be the same.
Pretty good, but I think we can do a bit better. Have a little fun with it. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some palate expanding to do.
There is grandeur in this view of life.
Welcome to Evolution Talk with Rick Coast, an introduction to the oldest story ever told.
I want to tell you a little story. The neighborhood that we are walking through right now is an old one. It's nice. It's quiet. As you can hear, it's just a few birds. And the people who live here have been doing so for generations. Their ancestors settled here, had children, and their children had children. They gave their neighborhood a name, too. An insightful young girl once had a brilliant idea and called it Heritage Hamlet. And, well, the name stuck. Life in Heritage Hamlet has, remained pretty much the same. If you were to pluck one of the original founders from their dinner table and drop them into the present at one of their descendants' dinner tables, they wouldn't notice the difference. They might see a few new gadgets in the kitchen that are new to them, but the food on the table would be easily recognized. There's chicken soup, there's some bread next to bowls of whipped butter, and a pitcher of water to wash it all down with. For dessert, there's chocolate chip cookies, everybody's favorite. Life centers around the family meals. Eggs, bacon, and toast for breakfast, peanut butter sandwiches for lunch, and chicken soup for dinner. Even those members of the family who venture off on their own settle down to serve eggs, bacon, and toast for breakfast, peanut butter sandwiches for lunch, and, chicken soup for dinner. The traditions of Heritage Hamlet and the taste buds of its families never change. One morning, a strange caravan of folks rolled into the hamlet, and those who happened to be awake saw something they'd never seen before. Brightly colored wagons laden with pots, pans, and chests containing who knows what. Even the people in the wagons wore bright cotton clothes that matched the canvas of the wagons. They were a sight to behold. As others woke up to the passing clatter of pots, pans, and wagon wheels, they watched the caravan with wide eyes. The caravan paused at the far side of town and settled into a large field. It was there that they began to unpack. They set up long tables beneath rainbow-colored tents, and within minutes, strange scents drifted into town with the breeze. At the breakfast tables in Heritage Hamlet, it's no surprise the newcomers were the topic of conversation. Who were they? Where did they come from? And what were those strange scents? As the villagers ate their eggs, bacon, and toast, they tried to identify the unfamiliar odors and scents that slipped into their kitchen through their windows. Some said the odors reminded them of flowers, while others said it was a little like the bark of trees, but more pleasant. All agreed that whatever the newcomers were cooking beneath their tents, it wasn't at all unwelcome. In fact, it was almost intoxicating. And then there were Noxit Doors. The villagers opened their doors to find children carrying notes. They were all invited to attend a celebratory dinner in the field, hosted by the strange new arrivals. As dinner time drew near, the streets of Heritage Hamlet were filled with villagers dressed in their best clothes. They wanted to greet the newcomers, make a good impression, but they wanted to know what they'd been smelling all day long. As they entered the tents, their nostrils and eyes were greeted with plates of food that they had never seen before. Here there were vegetables, there were bowls of stew, exotic meats, and breads in all shapes and sizes. Instead of water, their mugs were filled with liquid that tasted somewhat like honey. They talked, compared stories, and learned about the strangers' travels through places they'd never ever heard of. They were told how to make some of the new foods they were exposed to, and they were sent home with recipe cards. All agreed that the next morning, Heritage Hamlet would host a breakfast at the town's meeting hall. Shortly after dawn, when the newcomers filtered through the doors of the town hall, they saw tables piled high with eggs, bacon, toast, water, and coffee. They'd never tasted bacon before. The eggs were cooked in a way they weren't used to, and they loved the whipped butter, so much so that they asked how it was made. The newcomers remained in the field for a few weeks until it was time for them to move on. They had more traveling to do and more of the world to see. They left with tubs of whipped butter and the knowledge of how to replicate the foods of Heritage Hamlet. From that day on, when the villagers of the hamlet sat down to eat, there were new foods on the table. Brightly colored foods baked and cooked with spices given to them by the folks in the caravan. Those recipes were passed on to their children, too. Now, if you were to pluck one of their ancestors from the dinner table in the distant past and drop them into a chair at a table in the present, they might recognize the soup, but not its taste. Nor would they know what to make of the food of strange colors being heaped on their plates. It was an entirely new world, or, well, dinner table. And that, my friend, is gene flow. Substitute those foods and spices with genes. When groups exchange genes or new foods, they pass those alleles or recipes on to their children. Bon appetit! I hope you enjoyed today's slightly off-kilter episode of Evolution Talk. I'm Rick Coast, and if you find value in the show, please consider supporting it at evolutiontalk.com. I'd love to keep the show alive and without ads, and I can only do so with your assistance. Help spread the word, share the show with your friends. At evolutiontalk.com, you'll find more information, some recommended books, and also ways to contact me. I'd love to hear from you. And I hope your week is going well, and until next time, please take care of yourself.
Evolution Talk is a Rick Coast production.